Welcome back from intermission. Why is my hand clear down there? Okay. I added a full shot of Galliano, and I put a dash of Angostura bitters in there. This is going on my list of homemade drinks that I made up. Because it's even better than a tequila sunrise. You heard it here. I'll put the recipe out there on my Twitter. Part 2 of our Ed Wood double feature. I told you we'd get to it. This is the movie Ed Wood. About Ed Wood. And it covers the last movie we saw. Movies were his passion. Women were his inspiration. Angora sweaters were his weakness. Now, I've read a biography of Ed Wood. I know I own one. That's probably true. Touchstone Pictures, and this is very hard to read. Johnny Depp headlining, Martin Landau, Sarah Jessica Parker, Patricia Arquette, Jeffrey Jones, Bill Murray. Yeah. I think, okay, you can see them all down there. This is like an all-star cast right here is what it is. Let's throw it since we have room. We have room and it lands on my arm. That's perfect. Okay. Ed Wood, 1994 Touchstone Pictures, directed by Tim Burton. That just shows you how far Ed Wood's reach was. Tim Burton. Starring Johnny Depp, Martin Landau, Sarah Jessica Parker, my sixth wife, Patricia Arquette. Pervert, and not in a good way, Jeffrey Jones. And, should I say it right? Bill fucking Murray. Okay. A look at the early years of Edward D. Wood Jr.'s filmmaking adventures, beginning in the theater. One day, Ed, Depp, reads in Variety there are plans in Hollywood to make a feature about the famous transsexual Christine Jorgensen. Being a cross-dresser himself, Ed immediately feels that he would be perfect to direct this picture. I mean, he's directed some plays like in Santa Monica or somewhere. Well, he pitches the idea to, Screen Classics Studio, big in the day, and eventually convinces the studio boss that he's the one. The resulting film, Glen or Glenda, is merely the first in a long line of god-awful films. Along the way, Ed has befriended an aging and drug-addicted Bela Lugosi. And much of Ed's fervor in making films seems to be in this movie, to keep Bella working. For his next project, Bride of the Atom, Ed's girl Dolores, played by Parker, convinces him that he must leave the studios behind and find his own financing. You know, Dolores might have been onto something here. Dolores Fuller, by the way. She was in The Violent Years, I believe. After several fundraisers and almost as many misfires, he completes the film and then is informed by Dolores that they are finished. Yeah, she leaves him. Rude, Dolores. By now, Bella's addiction is ruining his health. He ends up in rehab, where the ever-faithful Ed meets Kathy Arquette. They fall in love, as you would. And Kathy helps Ed through his next fiasco, Plan 9 from Outer Space. Yeah, we just talked about that. For financing on this one, Ed convinces some Baptists. Now get this. Ed convinces some Baptists, let's say, I don't want to get too far off track here, to hand over the money they have raised for a series of religious films to him so that he can make this Hollywood blockbuster. And then he can, like, take the money he made from the movie and make their religious films. I mean, it looks good on paper. So, of course, the Baptists are hovering over his shoulder through the whole shoot, and they about drive Ed to the brink. Like, yeah, he's this close to losing it. Well, Bella dies early in filming, and Ed is left with what little footage of Bella he had. Mostly shots of Bella, like, going in and out his front door, or out of his front door, and walking around his yard. So, the psychic, Criswell, played by Jones, Ed's old buddy Bunny Breckenridge, Bill Murray, and Swedish wrestler Tor Johnson, and a very reluctant but newly out of work, I guess her local show shut down around this time, and Vampiro is out of work. Malin Nurmi, her real name, was out of work, are all on board, but how do they replace Bella? Bella's 6 feet under. What are we going to do? No worries. Easy. Ed sees Kathy's chiropractor at dinner one night and can't help but notice how similar Dr. Tom, is that his name, Dr. Tom? Yes, Dr. Tom's ears are to Bella's. Yeah, he's got really similar ears. So, we'll just take Dr. Tom and give him a cape, and he can hold his cape in front of his face the whole time so that you don't know that it's not Bella, because his ears look the same. this is the whole idea. We'll fool the audience into thinking that this is Bella in these shots as well, because he does, in the real footage, like out front of his house, swing the cape up. It's ridiculous. As was the movie. Okay. But we all know what a monument Plan 9 from Outer Space became, and what a legend Ed Wood became. Ed continued to hash out the schlock, eventually moving into like monster skin flicks, almost, well, maybe pornos. I haven't been able to get my hands on one, but I would love to do a double feature of later Ed Wood films from the 60s. Maybe Necromania. Yeah. Until his death from arteriosclerosis, that'd be a drinking, smoking disease for you who don't know. Cheers. Now, I don't smoke anymore, so I guess I'm not hardening up my arteries that much. Hopefully I'll live a little longer than Ed Wood, because I think he was about my age when he died. 1978, we lost Ed Wood. This is a great movie about a not great director. A director who made some of what most people would consider the worst movies ever made. Now, we've talked about that already, but a great movie about a really bad director. And in the movie, you'll see why I say he's a bad director. I mean, the lengths he had to go to get what he got. I got to give him credit for that. And this movie, Ed Wood, by Tim Burton, is truly inspired. Truly. And if you want to know what a great actor Johnny Depp is, take a look at his zeal in this movie. Just the zeal of the character, the fervor I mentioned of this character in Ed Wood. And then practically the very next picture he made, he's playing Hunter Thompson. And take a look at that role, where he is very convincingly... I've seen Hunter Thompson on David Letterman. I've seen it needed subtitles. I'm just saying. You want to see some range? Ed Wood is great. And Johnny Depp is great as Ed Wood. We're not even going to get into recent goings on, because I know y'all have an opinion. But you can't argue with the fact that he was great as Ed Wood. I don't care if he was great as a person. I'm not going to throw away every movie. Hear that, monkey? Oh, I dropped one. Like I said, Jeffrey Jones was in this, and he was a known pervert. What would Ferris Bueller be without Jeffrey Jones? trash person, but still a good movie. We have another black and white kind of double feature from the past. Well, this one wasn't really from the past, but another good one, Warning from Space, and Assignment Outer Space. Reach back into the 50s and 60s here. Possibly Japanese. The first one was Japanese, but I don't know about the second one. We will find out together next week on the Late Night Picture Show. Now, if you liked what you saw, thumbs up. If you hated it, thumbs down. I don't care if you comment about Johnny Depp. Go ahead and comment. But tell me if you saw this movie at least. Tell me he wasn't like gleefully insane in this movie. He made such a sympathetic character of Ed Wood with his belief that it was all going to be great and we would make that money back. I mean, I don't know if this was the case with the real Ed Wood, but man, in this movie, Johnny Depp sells us that we're going to make it. All right, let's wrap it up. Murph needs to get a buzz on while I edit these. Here we go. See you next week, kids.